So I forgot to recap night 2 of Visorfest. We had, I should have done it yesterday and I forgot. So it was a Spanish band from Alicante, I think I said it right, in Spain, which is up the road from Murcia. It's not Murcia, it's Murcia. And they do like alternative rock. And then after them was Not a Surf. And after Not a Surf was Echo and the Bunnymen. And after Echo and the Bunnymen, the big headliner was then Suede. And my Spanish friends, who I just met, Patricia and Joseph, and I didn't catch the other two, I forget their names, were like, well, let's all just walk over from our hotel, because we're all in the same hotel, surprise. And I'm trying to get like no reflection on my glasses, and this isn't working, whatever. They were, wanted to go to walk over to the show like 10 to 6. And I was like, oh, that's cutting it close. But I'm like, maybe there'll be less people. Things, they don't start on time. They're not like us Americans, where we all stand in line like forever waiting to get in, but whatever. So I was like, fine, we'll walk over, take a chill pill, don't be crazy. So I walked over with him, and we get in, and they realize like the rail's all full of people already, because Suede and Echo and the Bunnymen, I think, were bigger draws than the night before, which to me the day before was more what I was interested. But I was going to pass up day 2. I mean, I like Suede a lot, but like I knew Echo and the Bunnymen was going to be a shit show when they were. And I don't really know Not a Surf. I mean, I know who they are, and I know Popular, that one song. That's it. I never really sought them out. And so we walk over, and it was pretty full, like the rail, but the place was empty. So I went immediately to try to get something to eat, and they're like, oh, we're not going to serve food until 7. And that's when the band's already started playing. It's like, why aren't you serving now? Well, there's nobody playing. So I got drinks. I still had a bunch of money left on my wristband. So I got some I got some water and mixed drink, and went back and stood with my new friends. And so we stood there and watched the Spanish band. I don't call them Mercaderia, but that isn't right either. Watched them, and they were good. But, they sing everything in Spanish. So now I know what it's like to hear American rock and roll music, and you don't understand what the hell we're saying either. But they were good. They were from the 90s, and they all came out and played. And then I went and grabbed some food, and they had they felt bad because by waiting, I didn't have a front row seat. I was like one person back, but the people in front of me were short, so I could see past them. It wasn't a big deal. And she was like, no, you need to be up front. So they talked to the people in a row and said that I should be allowed in, that I came from the Estados Unidos. Let her in. So, okay. So I got to stand on the rail for night 2. And Not a Surf was really good. The guy, lead singer's Matthew something. He was excellent. And not bad looking either for 56. Like, he looked pretty good compared to some of the other guys that were up there, who are in their 60s. And they have really high energy, put on a great show, no backing tracks, playing everything au natural. And then we're standing around. I went and got another drink. And when I got food earlier, I made sure to use the Porta-John by the food places, because I figured that'd be the least hateful. And it wasn't bad. It was not great, but it wasn't as bad as the night before. And then I went to, stood and watched Not a Surf, and everybody else took turns going to get food and drink while we're waiting for Echo and the Bunnymen. And sure as hell, they come out, and Ian McCulloch is like incoherent. He has a full ass card table behind him next to the drum kit with 1,000 different bottles of stuff. And I can't see because I'm short and I can't see past the monitors to see what he had. And, oh, it's cold in here. I'm going to fix this real quick. And so he kept turning around and walking back, getting a drink and coming back forward. Like, just put the table up front, idiot. Like, just, he had his back to us more than he had his front to us. And I saw him on Cruel World in May. And they were supposed to come to Cruel World in 2022, and he couldn't make it. And they got somebody else in his place, and I can't remember who came in for him. But this year they made it, and we went and saw him, and we're like, oh, is he for real? This guy's like a dipshit. And I can't understand 90% of what he says. And I was telling, oh, the guys in Not a Surf could speak Spanish. So they're talking, even though they're from the United States, they're talking to everybody in Spanish. So the one band from the United States is speaking Spanish to everybody in the crowd. And I'm like, of course. Fucking course. And the lead singer to Not a Surf did one of the songs with the Spanish alternative rock band, and he came out with lyrics in his hand to sing, because I guess he knows Spanish, but not all the lyrics with them. And it was cool. It was neat. I didn't know that was him, though. When I saw him come out, I'm like, oh, everybody starts yelling, and I'm like, wonder who this guy is. I have pictures of it and video of it, which I haven't uploaded yet. It's him, the Matthew, the something or other lead singer to Not a Surf, can sing in Spanish. And then they came out and did his own set. And then Echo and a Bunnyman. All right. So Ian Anderson comes out with this card table of like every drink on the planet, including milk, and starts jibber jabbering at the audience. And even the people who could speak English were like, what is this dude saying? And he just makes no sense. He's incoherent. Or he's trying to cop an accent. He's from Liverpool, but he sounds like he's trying to be Scottish. I don't know if it's my ignorant United Statesian ears or whatever. So, piece of work. He comes out, makes no sense, starts singing. He won't sing any of the choruses of his big songs. He just doesn't sing them. So if you're supposed to be singing Lips Like Sugar, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't tell us to sing. He just kind of looks at the microphone. I don't know what he was doing. If he was drunk, high, combination of both, or he's just that much of an idiot. I don't know. And at one point, he just was fighting with the sound guy and fighting with the lighting guy. I knew this from Cruel World, and I warned the people around me. I said, he will not let them turn on the Jumbotrons. And he didn't. Jumbotrons were off. Same shit at Cruel World, but we were so far away, we're like, we can't see anything. And he played during the day at Cruel World too. Jumbotrons weren't on. I'm like, well, that's weird. Jumbotrons were not on again, right? And then the stage was dark. It was like going to see Sisters of Mercy. So much fog. I have pictures of the band. It could be anybody standing up there. They had like the dimmest little spotlight kind of shining on them. His guitarist is brightly lit in the corner, like absolutely brightly lit, crazy. And he is the most uninteresting guitarist I think I've ever seen. He just stands there and plays. I mean, I guess if you're in a band with Ian McCulloch, there's not much you can do. And Ian just is, not making any sense, mumbling through his songs, won't sing the choruses, like the easy part. And everybody around me is starting to get disillusioned by him. He's spending all his time pointing at his monitor and talking to the sound guy off to the side, talks to the audience. He was yelling at the lighting guy, like, you're trying to blind me up here, or, like, no, people paid money to see you. Can you have a little bit of light on you? People just want to see you. And he was just being such an asswipe the whole time, whining about the lighting, and mostly the sound though. Once the lighting guy got shit on, he just turned the lights right off. Dude sang in the fucking dark, And that was it. If there was some yellow light shining around the stage, that's all Ian got. And I managed to get a couple good shots, but most of them he is completely backlit. And I mean, even Andrew Eldritch in Sisters of Mercy will walk into a bright light briefly on his own terms, get lit up, and step away. All the other bands had a full complement of professional photographers come out between the rail and the stage to take pictures for like two or three songs. And nobody came out to video or do any sort of professional photography for Echo and the Bunnymen. They got nothing. No jumbotrons, no photographs, no light, and just a table's worth of liquids, and that's it. He comes up with a cup of milk. He's back here complaining. Oh, he also comes up to the microphone to complain like nobody brings him what he needs. I guess he was upset that they weren't continually fresh supplying him like with liquids like a cat. You know, I don't know. I can't see the table from my point of view to see what he was running out of, but there was clearly some issue. He needed to come out and vaguely share it with us, but as you only understood like 25% of what he said, I was kind of getting the gist. It was his, drink situation. And he had beer. I saw him drinking something golden back there, and then he picked something else up. I'm like, I knew he had a penchant for milk. He came out with a cup of milk in his hand to the front of the stage and was like, I don't know what's wrong with this milk. It doesn't taste right, and something about having it for a couple of days or something. I don't know what he was talking about, but whatever it was, he had an issue with the milk, and he holds it out to the edge, to the people, and he goes, if anybody wants this, you can have it, and he puts it at the edge of the stage. Like, how are we going to get there to get it, even if we wanted it? Like, you're crazy. Like, what is your problem, man? And then, like I said, he wasn't singing the choruses to most of his songs. His band, however, all the other musicians, really good. The one dude that's been in the band since like the beginning with him, who's probably at his wit's end, waiting for him to die. Will, I think, something, I forget, look him up. And then there were two young guys, one on bass, one on rhythm guitar, and it was a drummer, and it was a guy on keys. And the other four dudes that were not the original guitarist were young. They played significantly well. Like, the band was tight. Ian was a hot mess. He just was terrible. I would never pay, ever, again, to see Echo and the Bunnymen, unless they're on a festival, and then I'll see them. But they're terrible. They're not worth it. Ian McCulloch is a weirdo. I hate him. There, I said it. And so that he gets off stage. Oh, that's it. They were supposed to play for 90 minutes. He left after 55 minutes, and he left. He tried to come out for an encore. Like, just play straight through, man. It's 90 minutes. Everybody out, like, didn't you get the memo? You just play. So when people get encores are the headliners, and it ain't you. So don't make us all go through that. Just play your set. And they left at like 50 minutes and go off stage. And Will, the guitarist, is like standing there going, where's everybody going? Unplugs and walks off. He's like, I don't know what's going on. And then the people in the crowd start cheering. And I'm like, we're all looking at each other. I'm like, all right, yay, they're done. Like, now what? Sway gets to play early. And then they came back. Like, dude, you're not the headliner. Don't do this. Just play your set. Play your 90 minutes of a song. And if you're going to give us patter in between the song, speak English, Mick. He was terrible. And then, so he did two more songs. They did Lips Like Sugar, which he didn't sing the chorus on. And then he left. It was 55 minutes into his 90-minute set. They left. And everybody's like, yeah. And the DJ had to play longer, and they had more time to set up than for Suede, which was good. And I'd never seen Suede before. And the lead singer, Ian is 67 from Echo and the Bunnymen, and the guy in Suede is 56. So there's like 10 years difference. Well, you would have thought there was 30 years difference the way they were acting. Lead singer Suede's Brett something or other. He was amazing. Talk about a showman. Ran up and down the stage, he just amazing. Ran into up to the rail a couple of times, and we all touched him. He was so sweaty. He looked great, super fit, very athletic, running up and down the stage. Stumbled over his own feet and fell on stage backwards. Oh, that was awkward. But he laughed it off. Everybody laughed. He was fine. He just kept singing. It was in the middle of singing when he wiped out, so it was kind of funnier. But he recovered. He knew exactly where he was in his tune. He did really well. Bummed they did not do Insatiable Ones. I really like that tune. But I think that's actually a weird B-side or something, or written for a soundtrack. It was my first introduction to Suede. And I was like, oh, I dig this tune. I like this song. And it turns out that apparently I like a song that maybe isn't something that the band really likes, but I think it's catchy. So they didn't play Insatiable Ones. And that was a letdown. But they did do Animal Nitrate, a lot of stuff from that album, the Brown album I have. I forget the name of it. And lots of songs I didn't know, but everybody else sang it around me. And the girl next to me on my left, I got her number and WhatsApped her all my video footage because he was just worth videoing. The band was fantastic. They sounded flawless, and they did not trigger my phone to identify the song, which meant that they were playing for real. I've discovered that. If bands use backing tracks, my phone picks it up and says, this is, something, like OMD. All the OMD songs came up on my phone because they use backing tracks because they're electronica, so they're using stuff that's sampled. But none of the other bands did. But they all sounded really good. Suede did. And that's it. I went back to my hotel, got up next morning, hung out with my Patricia and my Spanish friends. And they went back home to Zaragoza, and I caught the train to Barcelona. Anyway, that's that. I'll try to upload this to YouTube, but the other thing. So I was on the train leaving Madrid, and the train music, there's like piped in music on the train. It sounded like weird spy music. So weird. I'm like, it's classical sounding, but it sounds like some James Bondy shit, but not, the theme to James Bond, which I'm very familiar with. Like, this is just weird. And I'm like, are we on a train bound for, I don't know what, like Russia? Like, is somebody running on the roof of the train, running through the train, shooting shit, lasers, somebody with funny teeth? Like, what's going on here? And I was like, this has to be spy music. This is too weird. So I held my phone up to track what it was. And it was just a little bit too quiet, but the train was super quiet. Like, nobody was talking. And it got the tune on Shazam, but couldn't figure out what it was. And then in the background, Shazam will keep looking for the song over and over and over again. And when I got to Barcelona, I got bzzz. I was like, what the hell's that? I went, oh, Shazam found it. It was one of the songs from one of the 007 movies. It was one of the lesser known pieces. Had the same feel. I was like, oh, see, I know what I was talking about. So we were on a spy train. Good times. All right. I'm going to disconnect this so it can charge up fully before I try to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the night. See you later.